The latest government shutdown, even shorter this time than a few weeks ago.
Early this morning, lawmakers agreed on a 2-year budget. President Trump signed the deal today. It provides one of the largest budgets ever for the Pentagon. Local economists say the billions of dollars in defense spending means great news for Hampton Roads.
One issue that was left out of the federal budget is what to do about DACA. The program protects illegal immigrants who came to the country as children.
Dreamers in the area are now left with a sense of uncertainty about their futures. Chinuher was able to chat with a family about their concerns.
Well, guys, this family has 2 children who are DACA recipients. They've been in America for nearly 15 years, working, going to school, and they say paying their taxes. Now they fear they can be separated because of this, especially because it could mean reuniting with the past they've worked so hard to escape. Friday nights are typical at Leda Paca's house in Norfolk. Packed with family, her husband and kids, but their future is anything but certain. 2 of her 3 daughters are among the nearly 700,000 dreamers living under DACA.
They grew up here. You know, they have their friends here. They have everything here.
Leda brought her 3 daughters to America 14 years ago, escaping an abusive relationship and to give her kids a better future. The United States was a safe haven for them and a land of opportunities, especially for her 23-year-old daughter, Ale, born with Down syndrome.
When we came here, she had a therapist, and she began to learn English.
Ale is now bilingual and a high school graduate.
Isn't going to graduate at school.
In every aspect, considers herself an American, but that American life now hangs in the balance as President Trump plans to end DACA on March 5th.
It feels like you're jailed.
Ali's younger sister, Andrea, is married to a citizen and is a legal resident, but her family's worries are hers as well.
It's always been the 4 of us, and I really can't imagine, because we've been through so much together. We've been like homeless together. We've had like 0 food in our fridge. My mom has been working her entire life for the 3 of us. So I can't imagine going through all of that just to be separated.
Separation isn't an option for this family working towards naturalization. Their home is Norfolk, where they've planted their roots.
Our life is here, you know.
In Norfolk, Chinuher, 13 News Now.
Today, we talked to Old Dominion University student Karen Flores. She isn't in the United States under DACA, but she has relatives who are. That is why she feels it's her responsibility to try and help dreamers. Flores says she is reaching out to Latino leaders to raise awareness. She wants Congress to take the politics out of it and focus on the personal side.
These DACA individuals have jobs, they have families, they're students, they're people my age too.
This country is all they know. For all practical purposes, they feel American.
That was immigration attorney Hugo Valverde. He tells us it's up in the air how long DACA recipients will be protected, but he believes it will be looked at again soon. And because of the injunction, the administration's March 5th deadline for DACA cannot go into effect. So Valverde says DACA recipients can still renew and apply for DACA applications.
Jurors have convicted an illegal immigrant of killing 2 California deputies. The case from 2014 has helped fuel the national immigration debate. Luis Bracamontes was found guilty of shooting 2 sheriff's deputies. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. President Trump's campaign featured the case in an ad about immigration. Defense attorneys argued that the illegal immigrant is mentally ill, though he was found competent to stand trial. We have new information tonight about a teen who died in a holding cell in Norfolk. The sheriff's office completed its internal investigation. Their findings show no indication of foul play. The investigation found that staff members followed all proper protocols. 17-year-old Cottrell Washington died last November in a holding cell in the Norfolk Circuit Courthouse. The medical examiner determined he took his own life. Washington was awaiting a hearing regarding malicious wounding and threatening a school employee.
A Virginia Beach woman is accused in a bizarre attack. She has been arrested and charged for malicious wounding. Police say she attacked the man who was trying to help her do her taxes. It all took place inside her home. Robert Boyd has the story.
Well, let's face it, no one really likes doing their taxes. But what happened in this house behind me back on January 29th Well, it's beyond ridiculous. A woman invites a friend over to help her with her taxes, and the next thing you know, according to police, she's throwing a hot liquid in his face and then trying to stab him with a sword. And at this point, no one seems to understand why. At the end of this quiet cul-de-sac on Nottingham Drive, a strange and violent crime occurred, and it's all centered around something we all hate but have to do: taxes. According to police, on January 29th, 63-year-old Monica Grace Rodriguez-Hardy invited someone she knows into her home to file her taxes. But at some point, Rodriguez-Hardy asked the man to look at a box of old toys. And when the man turned around, Rodriguez-Hardy doused him in the face with a hot, unknown liquid. While the man was attempting to run from the woman, she threw another pot of hot liquid, hitting him a second time in the face. Then, as the man was trying to flee the home, police say Rodriguez-Hardy pulled out a small sword. Police say the man countered by drawing his own firearm, but did not shoot, instead kicking the sword out of the woman's hand. Police say the victim ran to a neighbor's home and called 911. Following an extensive investigation, Rodriguez-Hardy was arrested on Thursday, charged with malicious wounding and contempt of court. 13 News Now attempted to speak with Rodriguez-Hardy's family, but no one was home. We also reached out to neighbors, but no one wanted to appear on camera. I did speak with a couple of neighbors off camera, and they say the suspect in this case seemed like a perfectly normal, nice woman, and these violent events come as a complete surprise. In Virginia Beach, Robert Boyd, 13 News Now.
Friday night at the mall was disrupted for some shoppers in Chesapeake. Fire officials tell us a fire damaged a restroom at Chesapeake Square Mall. The mall was partially evacuated around 7 this evening. Firefighters got everything under control, and eventually shoppers were allowed to return. No one was hurt. The cause of this fire is under investigation.
New developments tonight in the Russia investigation. Citing national security concerns, the White House says President Trump is, quote, unable to declassify a memo drafted by Democrats. The memo aims to counter a Republican memo that was declassified last week. The GOP memo is critical of the FBI's surveillance program. President Trump claims it clears him of the Russia investigation. The White House counselor says the Democrats' memo includes classified and sensitive pages. He's asking the Democrats to revise the memo and says the president is still inclined to release it if revisions are made. Scandal at the White House growing tonight. A second White House staffer has resigned after abuse allegations. Speechwriter David Sorensen resigned today after the Washington Post reported that Sorensen's ex-wife claimed he was violent and emotionally abusive during their short marriage. Sorensen denied the allegations. Earlier this week, Staff Secretary Rob Porter also resigned after 2 ex-wives claimed abuse. Porter also denies the claims. It was a week of historic ups and downs on Wall Street. The Dow closed about 300 points up today, ending just above 24,000. Twice this week, the Dow closed down more than 1,000 points, the biggest drops in history. Analysts are calling this a market correction, insisting that the economy and the banking system are in good shape.
Firefighters are feeling let down tonight. They've been fighting for years to get expanded health coverage for cancer. Yesterday, a House subcommittee tabled a bill that would allow certain cancers to be covered. The state Senate also postponed a decision on 2 similar bills until 2019. The president of the Newport News Firefighters Association says lawmakers are putting politics before the well-being of firefighters.
I tell them to come right on the rig with us one day. Go to the fires we go to see the sweat and effort we put out on a daily basis. And we're only asking for a little bit of protection.
We reached out to State Senator Tommy Normant. He was one of several lawmakers who voted to continue the 2 bills. We have not received a comment.
Tonight, we're getting a look at both sides of the felony theft threshold debate. We told you about the change last night. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle announced the grand larceny threshold will be raised from $200 to $500. That means thieves can steal more before it's considered a felony. Advocates tell us this is a good change because some of the offenders just made a bad choice and they have a hard time getting a job later in life. But critics say this will increase organized shoplifting.
They will steal up until the threshold so that it's a misdemeanor if they get caught. And they'll go back and forth and to get goods.
We want them to be able to become productive citizens, pay taxes, be part of our economy. That's the idea to crime and punishment.
As part of this bipartisan compromise, a series of other bills will pass, including making sure restitution is collected from defendants and then delivered to crime victims. More on the controversial bill we've been telling you about that could affect your power bills. Today, the state Senate passed legislation putting new limits on regulators' ability to lower utilities' electric rates. The vote came despite warnings from the Attorney General and state regulators. They say this bill could lead to billions of dollars in unnecessary costs and force customers to pay twice for some projects. Governor Northam and Dominion Energy support the bill. They say Dominion needs to use the money now to modernize the electric grid. The House is expected to vote next week.
We want to clarify a story we ran during 13 News Now at 5:30. We told you that a former sheriff's deputy in Dinwiddie County is a free man after he was accused of sex crimes against a 13-year-old girl. We reported that Hector Jimenez faced claims that he lured a 13-year-old girl to have sex with him back in 2015, but his attorney clarified to a Richmond television station that the allegations against Jimenez were that he inappropriately touched the teen, which he denies. The state did not set aside the charges against Jimenez as long as he never works in law enforcement ever again.